start this episode. This is our new weekly breakdown / review of the Halo TV series. So we will be spoiling heavily. So if you have not started Halo, I would recommend turning this off immediately. We're doing episode 1 right now, but this will be at the beginning of every episode. So obviously, as episodes go on, just pay attention to which episode it is. And if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend turning this off, because we'll be breaking down each episode and reviewing it, and also speaking about the Halo games. So if you are wanting to play the Halo stories or the Halo campaign and care about the stories, I'd recommend not watching or listening to these either. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode here. Welcome to the Current Backloggers for another episode discussion review of Halo, the TV show. I'm your host, KCP, along with my good friend and co-host, Cal. Cal, how's it going?
I'm here, and I'm ready to go.
All right.
Non-Halo related.
Yeah.
I was watching the All-Star game yesterday for NBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pathetic these days. They scored like 400 points combined, and like no one cared about defense.
Yeah.
And it's kind of how the humans are in Halo. They don't care about defending their homeworld.
Yeah, NBA is the sport I care about the least, but I still like it. So I was just checking the score, and I saw it was like 108 to 92 or something. And I was
At
like,
halftime.
Yeah, well, that's why I was like, all right, must be getting close to the end. And I was like, oh, halftime. All right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, they used to care about defense in the All-Star game, and now they just let you do whatever you want, it seems like. Like, it looked really bad.
Like the Harlem Globetrotters out there?
Yeah, and they're charging like $1,000 a ticket, and that's what you're getting. So never go to the All-Star game, is what I learned.
Yeah, I feel you.
I feel like they used to really care about it, and now it's just... I mean, it's like that with all All-Star games, though.
Oh, definitely.
No one really cares these days. They're just like, whatever. Like, the Pro Bowl's pathetic now, too.
Oh, yeah?
Just a flag football game and skills challenges.
Yeah.
The dunk contest was the best part about the All-Star game. The winner dunked over Shaq. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
But it was pretty impressive. It was like a 6'2" guy. He just grabbed the ball off of Shaq's head and dunked, and I was like, yeah, he deserves to win.
Not bad.
So, yeah. Don't watch the All-Star game. It's a waste of time. That's all I got.
Watch Halo instead. The best show of all time.
Maybe not episode 3 of this season, which we're about to talk about.
Yeah, this episode being Visegrad, I think that's how I would say it. There's a town in Hungary that has the same name, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it how they would pronounce it. I don't know if it's pronounced the same way in Halo, so I'm going to say Visegrad because I feel like that's how we would pronounce it.
Also, like, I realized that this is on Reach, and last episode, I think episode 2, I was thinking it was a different planet.
Oh, okay.
I think I said that in the episode. So this place is on Reach, not its separate little planet.
Yeah. Did they ever say it in the show, the name of Visegrad? Did they say it?
I think they just showed it on the screen.
That's what I thought. I was trying to wait for them to pronounce it, and I feel like they might have pronounced it how they would in Hungary, but...
Because the episode starts, it just says, like, the bottom, right? It's, like, on Reach in the Visegrad section.
Yeah.
So they never say it. They just go there.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, before we get into this episode, I sent a screenshot to Cal. Not that for our YouTube channels it's a big deal, but for us, these views were getting quite up there. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it. If you're here somehow and you know of Halo and you don't know of our channel, we have a video game podcast and YouTube show, obviously, called the Current Backloggers, where it's a weekly video game podcast. Also talk about movies, sports a little bit, TV shows. But like any good podcast, it's also just a ton of random nonsense, kind of like we did at the beginning here.
Yep.
Just random discussion. So feel free to check that out if you want. It's on every major podcast service, on YouTube on the same channel. And hopefully get our actual sports podcast going again so we can get all this out, because I'm the same as you. I just I need to get it out. Pigskin Over Pizza, we did it weekly for a while and try and get back to that. And then a show called Things We Shouldn't Admit, where share stories about embarrassing things or things you shouldn't tell people. And try and get back to that, but that's what this channel's all about, so hopefully we can keep up the views you guys are giving us.
And video game movies.
Yeah, oh yeah. I left that out.
Yeah, we'll get it. We got them. There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them up. They were recorded like a year ago or more, but they're up there.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's why I left them out, because I've been slacking on that. So I know the last 2 videos, the resolution, well, not necessarily the resolution, but the screen size is I don't know if you noticed that. It's for some reason super small on there. And I would say this episode's going to be better, but I don't know what I did to those episodes to make that like that. So I guess we'll see in editing. Hopefully this is a full-size screen here. You anything else you want to discuss, though, before we get into the episode?
I was listening to our Double Dragon episode, and there's this part where you were just like, this movie is terrible, and we were both laughing for like 5 minutes, and it was probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Because we could not.
I don't remember that, but the movie
while.
Sucks. I believe that.
It was so funny. You're like, this movie is terrible, and then I could not handle it for some reason, but
that's fantastic.
That was pretty great. So watch the Double Dragon episode. It's gold.
Yeah, and like you said, we'll try and get the ones that are recorded up and get back to recording those regularly. Get this whole channel going here.
Oh yeah.
We finally gained another subscriber too. I should mention that again. I know to people watch YouTube, these numbers are jokes, but I appreciate anything we get, and finally got over 50. And when we were doing this regular, we were getting over 60, and then people obviously start to drop off when you don't upload anything for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
You're obviously going to have people that fade away. So it's been a bit to climb back to anything. So hopefully we'll get there. Anything else you want to talk about before we get in here?
Let's talk about Halo.
All right, episode 3 coming in just under 54 minutes.
Yeah, which was a little crazy. I was like, oh, give us 54 minutes for this. So, yeah, so this episode starts on Reach, which I didn't think it was going to, because I didn't realize that this place was on Reach, but it's on Reach, which makes sense why he was like, the Covenant are on Reach. Like, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And they're in the Visegrad section, as it says on the bottom right of the screen. And they're trying to get in contact with Cobalt Team. And Chief tells them that they're on their own for this mission, and that Command thinks Reach is untouchable. And they're kind of just looking at this satellite base type thing, and they hear a bunch of gunfire. And then the intro plays, which was the shortest intro of any episode so far this season.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping when I saw this intro that we would get some action in this episode, and it's the opposite.
Yeah, this was my worry going into the episode. I know you said you thought it might be a Quan episode. She was in there a little bit, which we'll get into, but not really a her episode. But this was my worry that they're going to keep teasing this build-up, and then the build-up just keeps getting pushed farther and farther back. And that seems to be what's happening. I will say they had all their helmets on, lasted 9 minutes till the intro, and then they were off till the rest of the episode.
Yep.
But the reason I bring that up is to also say, I think this is an example that you don't need action the whole time. I mean, we need definitely more than this series giving us, so I agree with you there. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think this goes more to our point that it's not even they need action all the time. I feel like this beginning scene was interesting and felt like Halo because they all had their outfits on, they were moving around, the environment seemed like Halo. That you don't even necessarily need action, it just should at least feel like
Halo.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be identical to the game if you don't want it. I get it's a different story, but it should feel like the property that you're making.
Yeah, that's about, like, the beginning is all that feels like Halo, and it's not even 10% of the episode, maybe 10% of the episode.
Yeah.
And they get to this base, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we know the Covenant were there, and they just heard gunfire, so maybe the Covenant will still be there. But they get inside the outpost, and then the power's off, and Chief asks Riz to try and get the power on. They get the power up pretty quickly. Didn't take long. And Vanek is like, they left in a hurry. There's no sign of Cobalt. And they hear a sound from the computer board, and I have no idea what it was. I like, there's just, I don't even know how to describe the sound, but there was a sound from the computer board that was there. And Chief says he heard the same sound on Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the steady pounding on the door. And I think at the same time, there's like a scene going on with Perez where she's like tapping the table to the same rhythm. And she's asleep, and then she wakes up. And I don't know the significance of the scene at all. And then after this constant pounding on the door, just a bunch of military people come in to stop Master Chief's mission. And Chief is still angry. He's been angry the whole season so far. And he's like, where's Cobalt Team? And they have like an argument. I didn't write down everything that happened. And they're basically making Chief look like he's crazy is what they're doing. They're like, you're delusional. Sure. There's no covenant here. And he opens the door, and there's nothing there, but it was where the artifact was that the Blessed One and the Elite took.
Yeah, where we left off from last episode.
Yep. So basically he opens the door, there's nothing there, and Chief says he knows the Covenant were here and that he can prove it, but Kai is like, not like this. And basically it's like, you're wrong, Chief.
Yeah.
And it's basically how that goes, and they take Master Chief and they bring him back to the base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think anything to add there. I feel like that's how a lot of this episode's going to be. I feel like I was watching it and feel like, again, it's the script seems better, the acting seems better. It's just not much is happening.
Yeah, it was like you really built that up to a potential like fight, and then we're like, no, we're not going to do it. It's really annoying. It aggravates me a lot because it was okay in season 1 because I was like, it's fine, they're getting their footing, whatever. Now it's just annoying me.
Oh, I'm with you there.
Because I want to see him beat up elites like he did in the first episode of this season, but for more than 5 minutes of an episode. We didn't even get it at all in this one.
Jeez, you're getting greedy.
Yeah, I am. I'm not asking for much. Like, just 10 more minutes of Chief killing elites.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm being sarcastic.
I'd be happier. So the next scene is we're back to Ackerson, and he has this older man sitting in front of him, which we later learn is his dad based off of context clues. For some reason, Ackerson is like, I might have to go away, which I'm assuming he's talking about the Covenant invading Reach, because he's very aware that it's happening.
Yeah.
And he can't take this old guy with him, so he's just going to leave his dad on Reach.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Ackerson's a wonderful dude. And I think that Julia and his mother are dead. He said they're gone, but I'm assuming they both died. And then there's a later scene that does confirm that Julia died.
Yeah. That's definitely what they're saying with it. And this is another example of where I think the show seems to get better in some areas, but as its own thing, not necessarily a Halo show. Like, I think this whole thing with his dad was well done. Can't remember the actor's name. I only know because of post-show I didn't know this actor, but I thought the guy who played his dad did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
You might talk about later, but you learn he has dementia, and I feel like I thankfully have never had to experience that personally, but I know plenty of people that have had to deal with it personally, and I feel like they portrayed it how it seems like a lot of people have to deal with it, that it's probably like the saddest, weirdest thing you could deal with.
Yeah.
But there's also just undeniably funny, not in a rude way, like a mean way, but I feel like even people have said that about their own dads or their moms or whatever, because it's kind of like the Silver Team reverting back to kids as innocent. You're like a kid in mind and you don't even know it. And the story he talks about with you might have it on there, but about peeing on his friend.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought that was genuinely funny and like something that you would expect from somebody who's dealing with that kind of stuff. And I feel like they did that really well. They showed like how terrible of a disease that is, and on like Ackerson's end, the frustration that you would deal with and the sadness you would have of that being your dad, but his dad not knowing that and just telling a funny story. I feel like they did really well with that whole dealing with that whole thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I also don't dislike Ackerson's actor either.
No,
I think he's doing a good job.
I agree. Aside from looking like Tom Brady, it kind of makes me hate him, but that's not his fault.
Yeah, but other than that, he's playing that role fairly well. We're not supposed to like him.
Yeah.
I feel like we're supposed to be like, you're such an idiot. So he's definitely portraying that correctly, and definitely doesn't care about reach.
Yeah,
It's just like, humanity's dead. We'll just deal with it. So in the next scene, so we go to Keys, and he's with Silver Team, and he basically tells Chief that he's delusional again. Everyone's just like, "You're delusional, man. The Covenant aren't here." And he says Silver Team is suspended from combat operations, which I feel like they already were. They just weren't sending them. Like, they weren't actually suspended, but they just weren't sending them on combat missions. But now they're officially suspended from combat operations, so any hope of seeing any action this season is now terminated. And he shows Master Chief where Cobalt's mission is, because he says they changed it. They could have just done that after Master Chief went to the place, and they're like, wait, he's on to us. Time to change their mission. Or they could have actually changed it. But Chief is correct. The Covenant were on Reach as audience. We know that they're there. And so Chief insists he saw something else. Keys is then suspending John and confining him to barracks until he has a psychiatric evaluation.
Yep.
So they're really going with the Master Chief is crazy. And everyone is on board. They're like, yeah, just act like he's crazy.
Yeah, which is obviously so different from the games. And I get this is his own storyline, but just such a weird way to take this.
Yeah, it's like, why is everyone against Master Chief? Because it felt like that in Season 1, too. Because he was like a little outlaw there for a second in Season 1.
Yeah, pretty much the only, well, it's not even a person. Pretty much the only thing that was against, or not against him, was Cortana, and he fucking hated Cortana. Like, get the hell away from me.
He really hated her for, like, no reason. It's just like, you're an AI. I hate you.
Maybe that was it. He's like, nobody's supposed to like me. Everybody else hates me. You have to hate me, too. I'm emo.
Exactly. So then I think Keys might have just left. But I don't know. Chief is trying to justify his actions to the other team members, and they're all just kind of pissed off at him. I didn't write down their dialogue, but they were mad.
Yeah.
Vanek was, too. He was mad. Kai tries to talk to him, but he's standing his ground, which I support. Stand your ground, Chief. The blessed one was here. So that kind of happens. And then we get back to our favorite character in the series. Back on our favorite planet, also Rubble. We're back to Quan Ha, our favorite character, and she's finds Soren's wife, and this starts with like Soren's wife just walking around Rubble, and then she gets attacked, and then Quan Ha saves her.
Yeah, I feel like they're really trying to play up this Quan Ha's badass thing, and it gets weirder and weirder.
They really are. Like, I don't see her as a badass at all.
No.
And that's what they're trying to make us think that. They're trying to make us think Chief is crazy and Quan Ha's a badass. So that's what the writers of Halo have determined that we need as content.
Yeah.
And basically Quan tells her, do you know her name, Soren's wife? I didn't write it down.
No, I don't. I'm sure he says it, but I don't even remember ever hearing it.
I think it's an L name, maybe.
That sounds familiar now. I'll try and look it up while you're talking.
Like Laura or something.
That's
maybe?
what I was gonna say, but I was like, I feel like I'm just guessing. I'm gonna say something totally wrong.
Well, in my notes, I just have Soren's wife, which I mean that basically is all you need to know what I'm talking about. But basically, Quan is like, you're in danger, and they got rid of Soren, and Quan tells her that they have to get Kessler and go. So, full evacuation mode on Rubble for Quan Ha.
Is this? I don't want to get ahead of things here. Has she talked about how her family is protected?
Not yet. I got some notes about that.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
It was there.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add there. I'm still trying to find the actress here.
Yeah, so not a lot happens. Basically, it's just you need to leave because people are trying to kill you, essentially, or capture you. And then they go to get Kessler, and there's just this guy there playing action figures with him. I think they have a Master Chief action figure.
Yeah, if it's not him, it looks like him.
Super cool. Anyway, like good choice. And I think, the guy that's there, I didn't get his name either. It's just a guy and a girl, I think, that are there with Kessler.
Yeah, I never talking about him either though.
But he tells Soren's wife that the ship is fixed and they can prepare to leave. That's basically what that scene was. Besides Kessler playing with his action figures and this guy just being there. So that happens, and there's two guys. This is the next scene, but there's two guys chaperoning Master Chief because he's crazy, so they gotta watch him. And I think he's about to go through a routine psych eval, and as soon as they get in the elevator, he just knocks him out.
Yeah, you could see that one coming from a mile away.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, these guys they're done. They're knocked out.
Her name's Layara, by the way.
Layara?
Yeah.
Cool, I'll try to remember that. She's such a minor character that I probably won't remember that.
That's why I took that long to find her.
So, yeah, he just knocks him out, and then Riz goes to see her friend from the previous episode that was helping her with her arm. And they have dinner and drinks. And then basically Riz is going they had a conversation in the last episode about like being something else than like a soldier. And she basically just asked like what else she can be. So she's like probably thinking about not being a Spartan anymore. Is what it seems like. And that's pretty much all that scene was.
She wants to be the next Quan Ha. She's like, what the hell? This person gets to be a badass of the show. Let me be her.
I gotta move to Rubble. So that's where Riz is going. Again, another scene that's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Doesn't really do much plot-wise. It's a character we don't love, and yeah, that's where we're at. And
yeah, that's why I was telling you I had the fewest notes of any episode so far, because you had this. There's a whole lot of nothing in this episode.
Yeah, and there's like not a lot to discuss either, because it's a whole lot of nothing. And I went scene by scene for the most part, so that's why I have so many notes. But yeah, I think we're probably like 20 minutes in, and this is what's happened so far, which is ridiculous. So Ackerson is then talking to Kai in the next scene. We just get a lot of talking in Halo. There's so much dialogue. Like, and dialogue's okay because Game of Thrones has a lot of dialogue. You've seen Game of Thrones, right? Not spoiling anything.
But so maybe you would if you're gonna.
Okay, I won't talk about it. But Game of Thrones does have a lot of dialogue, but it has a purpose to it, and it all makes sense. This show has a lot of dialogue, and nothing makes sense. So yeah, Ackerson's talking to Kai about the mission, and Kai tells Ackerson that Chief was just doing what's right, even though she definitely didn't back him up when the other soldiers came in earlier in the episode. And that they shouldn't have to sit around and wait because, I mean, they're Spartans. They're not really built for no action like this entire show has done. Like, what's the purpose of the Spartans in this world? They just send them on little missions occasionally? Like, so annoying. But yeah, they're not meant to sit around and wait. And Kai says that he should just deploy her until Chief is cleared. So not Silver Team. Just her.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the dumbest parts of the show so far,
Yeah,
at
and
least this season.
I was like, okay. And then Ackerson is like, well, Master Chief just escaped and knocked out both of his guards. And then Ackerson totally flips and he's like, you're working with Chief, basically. It's like, tell me what his plans are. And she's like, I don't know. She doesn't. So he definitely just flipped the script and was like, you're not getting deployed, but what are Master Chief's plans? She doesn't know. We don't know Master Chief's plans.
Uh-huh.
We just know he escaped. So that was that scene.
Yeah.
And then we go back to our favorite character again that we all love.
If you say so.
That's why we name our rankings after her, because we love her. So back to Kwan Ha, and this was her blaming herself for Madrigal's fall, and the best line in this conversation was, "I'm Kwan Ha."
That's literally the note I have too. I was like, oh, fucking cool. Everybody hates you. And you said it like you're fucking Batman or something. What is this?
Yep, exactly.
You said it so badass. So this is idiotic.
I'm Kwan Ha. And was like, basically, my family has protected Madrigal forever, and when it was my turn, I failed.
Yeah, she said for generations, which I know you are a little more graceful with it. You're like, I don't even mind if she's in the show, if there's purpose and there's like a reason. I'm just like, get her the fuck out of here. But even if you want to take your approach, I'm like, she said how she protected, her family's protected for generations. I'm like, okay, why are we just now hearing this? If you're this important character is so important, it's not like she's mysterious or anything. She's not well developed.
Yep.
Why are we hearing this like this is a big thing and we're halfway through the second season almost? I'm like, this is some weird character development here.
Yeah, and I feel like when they did this scene, they're probably like, yeah, everyone's going to be all emotional and like, I'm Kwan Ha. And I was just like, okay, you're Kwan Ha. Like, what does that do for the Halo storyline?
Yeah, I feel like that's why they tried to have the filler thereafter about her family protecting her for generations and like give her a backstory somewhat finally, but I was still like, okay. Probably should have been done sooner, and even if it was, I still wouldn't care. So let's move on here.
Yep. So that happened. Horrible. I mean, you might love Kwan Ha, and you're listening, you're like, man, these are some Kwan Ha haters. But just get a Kwan Ha show if you love her that much, and you can watch it.
Or in the comments, tell us a valid reason why you like Kwan Ha, because I can't think of one.
I haven't met anyone that does like her, so
can't even think. Like, unbiasedly, like I said, the Blessed one doesn't really make sense. I think it should be better without it, but at least I could be like, yeah, they get to see her. I can't imagine many people even like seeing Kwan Ha for those reasons. Sure, there's somebody, but I can't imagine that's common.
The Blessed one blesses us. That's why she's in the show. Okay, so more Kwan Ha content in the next scene that we all asked for when Halo premiered. So the alarm, it's the same scene basically, but an alarm starts blaring in the background, and Kwan is like, it's time to go. And Kessler has a Spartan helmet on. I'm assuming it's Soren's helmet.
I don't remember actually.
I know he just has a helmet. He had a Spartan helmet in the last episode as well that we thought was Chief's helmet, but I think it's just his dad's helmet.
Maybe it is. I felt like it looked different, but
yeah, it looked like a generic Spartan helmet to me in this scene.
I guess we not only do not see many Spartans wearing them, but especially Soren. I don't feel we've seen that for quite some time, so maybe I'm not remembering his helmet.
Wear it?
I think he did in the early first season.
Yeah. Well, he has this cool pistol. I know that, but I don't actually remember seeing him in the helmet. He might have been, but it's not often.
No.
It's like 0.1% of the show. So Kwan's like, you gotta take that helmet off. It'll like draw attention. So then they tell Kessler that they're going to get his dad back, and they all get on a ship and prep to take off, and then they try to leave. But these people just drop the blast shield to stop them from leaving, and they're gonna try. They try to go through the door, but this ship is massive.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to escape from somewhere, don't take the biggest ship possible. And it seems like that's exactly what they did. They were like, "Oh, this is a nice big ship. Let's take that. That's not noticeable." And the blast door starts to shut, and they're about to hit it. So she has to hit the brakes so that they don't. And then they're like knocking on the door. Do we know who these people are that are trying to?
I don't think so. I remember watching the scene, and I felt like they were just filler characters, it seemed like.
Yeah, like, are they working for the UNSC?
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question that the show will probably not answer.
Yeah, so they're those people are pounding on the door and are like, "We're here to arrest you," basically. And Kessler's mom is like, you talking to Quan, and it's like, "You got to look after Kessler," and is basically gonna sacrifice herself to let them escape. And I was wondering how this was going to work, if they were going to take off in the ship and like bust through the door or something. They just walk off the ship and go back into rubble. But Kessler's mom does punch a few of them. She's pretty good at fighting. I was pretty impressed by it.
Yeah.
But then they start to beat her up. And then Quan and Kessler just kind of walk out. So I'm not sure if they actually knew that Quan and Kessler were on the ship.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to tell with the nonsense of that scene.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure if like they just thought Soren's wife was on there, or if they were like, oh, all three are on there. But it didn't seem like they cared about the other two. So I'm assuming this is giving them like a benefit of the doubt that they just thought that Soren's wife was on there, and that's why they didn't because she just walked out of the door. They could go in it and search it if they wanted to, but they seemed like, oh, this is the person we're looking for.
Yeah.
So, yep, Quan and Kessler are on the run, and it's all we've asked for.
As I say, still don't know why we care about that and what that's leading towards, but they sure are.
And it doesn't. And it doesn't connect to the other like storyline whatsoever. Like, nothing on Reach connects to Madrigal at all. So it's like you're watching two different shows.
Yeah.
Because like usually you'll get like separate plot lines, but they connect at some point. It's not happening here. It's just a bunch of random crap is what it is. And takes up like 20 minutes of the episode that could be used killing Covenant.
Yep.
Cool action scenes in suits.
Or even just developing a real story.
Or that, yeah. So this next scene, we're back on Reach, and we're with Keyes, our favorite commander. He was my favorite, actually. I still think he's my favorite. I like him. But he's looking at a bunch of bodies. I have OG bodies. I think that's a typo.
They're the original gangster bodies.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of bodies, and I think is it Cobalt Team? I don't know if they confirmed that. It might just be random soldiers.
I think they're implying it was them, but I don't know if they confirmed it.
Well, there's bodies, and they have plasma scarring, so they were killed by Covenant. And he basically, he just asks Ackerson like how he wants to handle the bodies, like what do you want to do about it? And Ackerson is like, well, there are no bodies, and they're just MIA. So they're just gonna cover it up. They're just gonna say they're missing in action, and there's no bodies at all. So then Keyes asked Ackerson if he knew if Master Chief's suspicions were real.
Yep.
And basically Ackerson confirms it, and Keyes realizes that the Covenant are on Reach, and he's mad, which rightfully so, because I think he does actually care about fighting the Covenant. And then Keyes, I think, wants to go to the superiors, but Ackerson is like, they know. They don't care either. They know the Covenant are on Reach. And Keyes is like, we should start evacuating. Like, there's time. And Ackerson is like, it doesn't matter. And then Keyes is like, well, are we still going to fight? And Ackerson is like, yes, but we'll lose. And Keys is like, this is my home. Like, millions of people live here. And Ackerson says it's his home also, but then it's just like, we'll fight another day when we can win.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why Keys is mad. Because, they're outmatched, but you could still fight.
Yeah, it's kind of the complete opposite of the story of Reach. That's the point of Reach, is that they fought till the end, even though they knew they were going to lose.
Yeah, so I'm so confused what they're going with here. It's like, yeah, we'll fight, but we're going to lose.
Well, and I guess in Reach, it's they know they're going to lose, but it's for a greater cause, not just we're going to lose, so let's fucking lose. It's doing it, but for a bigger mission.
Yeah, and like I don't understand what they're going with here, but Ackerson then looks at Keys and is like, "Can I count on you?" And Keys is like, "Go fuck yourself." And I thought it was probably the best scene of the episode.
I did like that the delivery of that a lot, and I think it's well done. I think this would have been a way more fitting line and reason again to have Sergeant Johnson in this show.
Oh yeah.
And Captain Keys be what Captain Keys should have been. Also, where's Miranda Keys throughout this season?
Yeah, we haven't seen her once.
No.
Where was she at the end of the season?
I don't remember.
All right, well, she could be the
don't
key.
Think the show does either.
She could be the key to the show.
I think that's going to be Quan Ha, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully.
Well, speaking of Quan Ha, this next scene, we get more Quan Ha. And I didn't have a lot for this. We're just back to Quan Ha, and Quan and Kessler are boarding a ship. And Kessler's just like, "Where's my mom?" And that's about it. That's the scene.
Yep. I think that fills it out.
Yep, that's what happened. So then Chief is meeting Parangoski.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that right.
Yeah, you
but
did.
The former admiral.
Mm-hmm.
And Chief has information, but we know he has information. But he's like, I'm not giving it to you unless like I know what you're using it for. And then Chief tells her the Covenant are on Reach and tells her what he knows about the situation and that they're covering it up. And he tells her he fights to defend humanity and his home. And I don't remember what her response was. I think she just says, like, you fight because you're told to.
Yeah, she said, you fight because I tell you to. I was like, I didn't like any of this. I feel like all his reasons were much better and more fitting for the character.
Yeah, and basically at the end of this conversation, he just gets up and walks out. And I totally understand why, because she basically just insulted him to his face.
Yeah, I thought that whole scene was pretty terribly done, and I think the standout was a bad joke. Then he said the Covenant are here, and he was spinning his noodles, and she said, in the ramen?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God. What the fuck are you doing?
This, like, super serious scene, and then in the ramen? Like...
Yeah, it reminded me, and you know I'm not a Marvel hater, but it reminded me of, like, the bad parts of MCU where they think everything needs to be a joke now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's not... Guardians of the Galaxy worked because it was different. It was comedic and some jokes here and there and some of the other ones, but not everything has to be a comedy all the time.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was... And, like, with this show, they try to make jokes, but they're all placed so poorly.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be humorless. I think Halo has some jokes, but I think it's all about how you... And I've even said some of these jokes in the show have been funny. I think it's all about delivery and timing, and I feel like it has been terrible in this. I think in the games, I don't know what style of humor I'd really say, but I think it works well the way they do it. But in here, it's hitting some of the time, but yeah, most times just losing altogether.
Yeah, and I feel like with the games, the grunts are like the funniest things in the entire, like, everything. And we've gotten grunts like twice.
Yeah, save the dumbass lines like in the ramen for the grunts.
Yeah. They can just be holding ramen and running with it. I could see them doing that. They're pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
They just kind of run around with their hands up sometimes.
Sometimes 2 plasma grenades in their hands when they're running.
Yeah. So they're crazy, and we don't get to see them, which is really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've seen them since, like, the season finale?
Nope.
Last season, and we saw them, like, once before the season finale.
Think so.
So, justice for the grunts. It's sad out here without them.
Yeah.
So Chief walks out, justifiably, and I think she looks at, like, 2 guys that were standing in the background and, like, nods to them.
Think so, yeah.
And Chief definitely notices it based off his facial expression, so I don't know what was going on there. But, so we're back to Ackerson and Halsey.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking, and Ackerson is talking about how fragile the Spartans are because of how, like, Halsey conditioned them. And Ackerson is about to leave, but I guess he just comes back. And then Halsey is like, "Don't you want to know how she died?" And she's referring to Julia.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Julia was possibly in the Spartan program based on she said she didn't survive the augmentation. But I'm not sure if that's the Spartan program or something else.
Yeah, it does make it sound like Spartan. I didn't think about when I heard it. I just figured it was like some kind of I mean, it's so far in the future. I figure it's like some kind of augmentation to save somebody. But
Yeah.
it could be Spartan as well. That would make sense.
Yeah, I was thinking either that or something with, like, Cortana's thing. Like, maybe they were trying to... Maybe she was dying and they were trying to make her, like, an AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, move her consciousness or something.
Yeah.
That's how that conversation went. I didn't have anything else for that. I mean, there was more in that scene, but it didn't feel like a lot.
No.
So, well, actually, there's one more part to this scene. Ackerson brings in Soren. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he brings in Soren
later.
To hang out with Dr. Halsey so that she's not by herself. And, yeah, that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to Soren's wife, and she's getting interrogated about where Soren hid a treasure. This scene is just so pointless to me.
Yes.
But she's not giving any information, so he just puts her in an airlock, and she's passing out because there's no air. And then we just see blood on the window, and Quan Ha is there to rescue her.
She says, "I'm Quan Ha."
Just like Batman. I'm Quan Ha. So Kessler's not there, so Soren's wife is like, "Where's Kessler?" And then Quan stabs another lady with a knife, and then is like, she put Kessler on a transport and left to go save her.
Yeah.
And obviously she's not happy because she was like, "Told you to protect my kid. You just left him." And then Quan is like, "But you would have died." Like, okay. Like, bring Kessler with you then.
Uh-huh.
Don't just leave him by himself on a ship.
You're using something in this show to have a lot of common sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they try to make Quan this nice, badass character, and she's not.
No. She's anti that.
So, John then goes to talk to Perez again, and she's not there. I'm assuming this is her mother or grandmother or some type of family member. Yeah. And this was such a weird line. Did you write it down?
I feel like I remember something, but I don't have something written down.
She was like, "She's a good girl, but I think the devil follows you."
Yeah. No, I remember there being something weird.
I was like, huh? Like, he's trying to help her.
Yeah.
I was so confused by it. But that happens, and then we're back to Ackerson talking to his dad again, and he gives his father a pill, I'm not sure what. I think the pill is probably for Alzheimer's or something, maybe.
Um,
Or maybe it
is
has
it,
to do with what else happened in the scene.
that's what I thought. I could be
Okay.
wrong now.
But he tells his father that I think there's someone to see him, and
Mm-hmm.
Julia walks in, and I was thinking Julia could be a clone based on we know that they have cloning technology, but
Yeah.
it could also have to do with the pill that he gave him.
Yeah, I thought she was a clone as well, but yeah, I guess could be like a hallucination or something. But
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what I would assume clone, but it could be something else.
I mean, clone or unless Halsey's getting the same thing because she was seeing her too, so
Oh,
has to
yeah.
be a clone or hologram or something.
Yeah. Maybe like an AI thing or
Yeah.
something. And I think the scene just ends after that, so we don't get anything more from that.
Not till he passed away. Did you say that, or is that later?
I didn't say that. Did I
Okay.
miss that?
Oh, you're good. Yeah, he passes away, and I thought the scene was well done as well. Kind of used well too many times there. But cause I feel like a lot of people probably see this as like him being evil and killing his dad, but I feel like that's like kind of like pulling the plug on somebody that's been on life support for 3 years or something. I feel like his dad was in so much pain, and then not even that. I feel like he knew what was going to happen to the planet, and his dad was hopeless.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why he let his sister come in there. I feel like people could also think that was like to mess with him, but I feel like he wanted him to be able to see that as like his last memory.
Yeah. I didn't put together that he died.
I guess he took a nap, but I thought he was dead.
So rest in peace to that guy if he actually died. I had no clue.
That'd be funny if he's just in next episode. I'm talking about how well they killed him off.
Well, if they killed him off that way, that's a good send off for him because he wouldn't be useful in the fight and
Yeah.
would probably just die a way more brutal death with like an elite, like he's trying to pee on the elite and then gets stabbed by an energy sword.
That would somehow still not be as awkward delivery as in the ramen. Be like, oh yeah, peeing on him. That's kind of funny.
So if he's dead, rest in peace. But we're almost at the end of this episode, which is crazy to think because nothing happened. John goes to Perez, and she's just in this church praying, and they go over what they saw in Sanctuary, and Perez confirms she saw the Blessed One.
Mm-hmm.
So Chief is not crazy. The Blessed One is out and about. We know that because we saw her, and we still don't have an explanation of how she got shot and is just walking around. And then Perez has a recording from Sanctuary, so there's physical evidence also. And it's the Covenant talking, and I didn't write down this quote because it was a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But she translates it for John, and it sounds like a sacrifice prayer, and they mention the Halo ring.
Yeah, they're speaking in Sungheili, which is a language in Halo, and it sounds like an elite, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It seems like. But, yeah, this was one of the more interesting parts of the episode.
Yeah, so big quote at the end. Watch it again. I'm going to go watch it again. And Perez is translating for Master Chief. And, let's see, Perez says they're already here, aren't they? And then a massive explosion happens and the episode ends.
Yeah, and then the big quote at the end of it, like the last line before it happens is, the great journey is amongst us, I think is what they say. But the great journey is a reference in the Halo games. That's the biggest plot point. So
Yep.
I don't want to get too excited because I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's not much happens till a season finale. But next episode is a halfway point of the season. So I might be getting my expectations too high, but I feel like every time we talked about how next episode might be the big one, I feel like I've tapered and be like, I hope so, but I don't think so. So I'm going to say I feel like the midway point, they're going to have a somewhat bigger episode, some action, not like season finale. This is sad to think, but I feel like it might be that and the season finale of action. So I feel like they might be a halfway point, give them something. You would think they're kind of like a build up, and each episode have something, but I wouldn't be shocked if next episode we finally get some of that, and then we don't get more until the ending.
Yeah.
But them saying things, talking about the Halo rings and the great journey, I feel like eventually they're just trolling people if they keep saying all these things that Halo fans know so well and mean so much, and then it ends up with Quan Ha talking like Batman and somebody named Parangoski making jokes about the Covenant being in the ramen, and even if scenes are well done, like the guy talking about peeing on his friend. I'm like, all right. Do you guys remember the great journey you're talking about, or these Halo rings, or any of this cool shit?
Anything that has to do with Halo. So yeah, the summary of this episode is: guy pees on his friend, Quan Ha's Batman, and there's Covenant in the ramen.
Yeah. I want to see the old man not just pee on Quan Ha, but pee on her and waterboard her and then just end it. I think that'd be a cool episode.
Series.
Yeah. All right. Should we get into what we think? I always do that. I feel like I summarize, and then I get to the end, and I'm like, well, now I just got to repeat everything I just said.
Yeah, so we can get into these Ha rankings.
All right, I'll go first 'cause I think you were first last time, and I think you're going to be a lot lower than me, so we'll see here. Something new I'll add here. I would say the show should definitely do this, but with how shows handle things, they probably really shouldn't. But if they handle things the way they should, I feel like it would be fucking awesome to see ODST in this show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, maybe the battle's falling apart, not in the way that this show does it. Like, Quan Ha comes and save it, and Master Chief's an idiot. But, like, the Spartans are fighting well, but there's too many Covenant. And then ODST start falling from the sky, and it's like a dark setting, kind of like the first episode of the season as far as setting-wise.
Yeah.
I feel it'd be so cool to see them come in, and people that don't know what they are from only watching the show, watching one of those pods fall in and like slam on an elite or something, and then those badass things jump out.
That's what we can hope for.
Yeah. And they're like spec op unit and real military, I feel like would be equivalent, but they fall from drop pods from the sky.
Yeah.
Orbital drop shock trooper is a ODST. But knowing this show, they'd probably come in like kites, like Fortnite style, and fall from the sky and like tumble and
start peeing on the elites with ramen in their hands.
Yeah, and midway through, they'd yank their helmets off and throw them on the grounds. But that was just an aside. I thought about that. I was like, man, that'd be, if done right, be really cool. Sometime in this series. Doesn't have to be this season. Hopefully get more.
When does Arbiter come in the games? Is he in the first game?
He is obviously a main point in the second game.
Yeah, I know that for sure.
Yeah, you're making me totally blank now with the first game. I don't think he's in the first game though at all.
He might not be. I know in the second game he's in Halo 3 like as a protagonist. Maybe the Blessed One's replacing him.
That's what it seems like. Which the Arbiter would be a lot cooler. Yeah.
Arbiter's so cool. I was thinking about that too. I was like, when does Arbiter pop in? And we probably won't get him anyway, but
no.
I'm like,
all those cool characters are just fucking worthless on here.
Yeah, even like Sergeant Johnson, and like he's not in it, and he's a cool character, and
he's a prime example and would be a great place to have comedy. He's ridiculous and over the top, and it doesn't seem forced in Halo because there's people like that in the military that are over the top like that. But yeah, they choose to do it at all the wrong times. I think the beginning of this episode, like I said, I actually thought it was well done. There wasn't an action, just like I said, it feeling like Halo can be enough sometimes, and feeling like there's something happening. And picking up from where the episode left off, which a lot of times doesn't really happen in these episodes.
Yep.
I think there is shining moments. Like I said, I think overall, I feel like even though I'm not a fan of a lot of things they do, I feel like it's definitely more quality. I feel like it'd be hard to argue that. And I think it's kind of highlighted by his dad, the scenes he was in, and how well done some of those scenes were. And then that tells you how much in between there was. I feel like I would skip all the way to the ending scene and the potential of that, and feeling like Halo a little bit again, with the voice recording and listening to that and the great journey and all that.
Yeah.
So I might have seemed really down the episode, and I kind of am, but I would say 5 Haas. I'd say it's about the same as the last one for me. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff that is annoying or I would change, but I was like, I can't really say it's any worse than the last episode for me.
We have the same.
Oh, okay.
Exactly the same. I was down on the episode for sure, but it's not the worst thing I've ever watched in my life, so I can't, I don't think I can drop it below 5, because there was stuff that happened, but not all of it was important to the plot or anything. So nothing crazy in this episode. I don't really think there was a scene that stood out where I was like, oh, that was like, maybe the beginning was okay, but it wasn't like, oh, that was amazing. And none of the dialogue scenes were like some of them were well acted, but again, it didn't exactly push the plot forward.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
The only thing none of the Quan Ha scenes matter.
No.
So, I feel like that automatically just knocks the episode down 2 when Quan Ha's in it as much as she was. And then, even some of the other dialogue scenes were just, even, Riz's little plot line going to her friends, that was pointless. There was no point in having that. So there's just a bunch of nonsense just going on, and the only thing that moved the plot forward was the explosion at the end, and maybe Keyes realizing the Covenant are on Reach, and now there's kind of Keyes and Ackerson are probably going to go at it now. I'm hoping Keyes realizes that John isn't crazy now, and actually backs him up.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that kind of moves that forward, because they do have to fight. You can't just ignore it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Keyes maybe does something about that. And yeah, I just 5 Haas. That's where I'm at.
5 Haas out of 10. I feel like I always forget to say it's a 10, because 5 might sound like we're
5 out of 5. Yeah, that was a
it.
perfect episode. That's what I want out of Halo.
No, I'm with you. Even I know I kept praising in the beginning. I feel like it's all relative to what it is. I feel like if this show is what the potential of what it should be, that show wouldn't stand out for a second. I feel like that kind of tells you how these episodes have been. That something like that stands out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of not really a compliment to the show or the episode or the show in general. It's kind of, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment, because it is well done, but well done relative to what the show is.
There's just too many pointless plot lines that are starting to weigh the series down. They could just they could really take Quan Ha and just make her disappear, and the show would still end up the same. The Reach plot line, it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
And we're just wasting screen time.
And that's the weird thing. I know Cody feels extra strong, but listen to the current backloggers knows he feels extra strong about trying to push force equality onto things. I agree. I don't have any issue with equality. I feel like if true equality, though, you don't have to push things to be in it. And it feels weird that this show does that, because looking at Halo, it's a game, but even that has so much diversity that you don't need to force it in there
at all.
I feel like if you had Halo what it was, you would have diversity naturally, and I feel like that's the issue of pushing it. There's definitely extreme people that just hate that stuff because they hate the things, but I think generally the people that have issues with it have issues because the quality goes down on it, or things are forced that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And that seems like what's happened with Halo, having somebody like Quan Ha seem more important and intelligent than the fucking Master Chief is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you have one of the coolest characters in video game history as your main character in a show, and you're making him not be in the armor at all, and like it's so like he's so cool, and they don't use that, and it's kind of like they're kind of insulting Halo fans by how they're doing the show, because we know how good Halo is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we're dumb. Like, we know Halo is like really good, and you can change the story, but you should also like pay tributes to the fans that actually like it. Not, we'll just make this random sci-fi show and random people will watch it.
Yeah.
Like, you should be catering to your fans who all play the games.
No, I'm with you.
It's making, I'm sure like some fans are like, I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not done, but my fuse is a little short this season compared to last season.
Yeah, I like Halo so much that even if it was terrible, I'd have to see it. I'd be mad, but I'd have to watch it just because it's Halo. I want to see how they do it. But yeah, I think some people that just like Halo, like they do every other game, or really like Halo, I think a lot of them not only tuned out, but probably never tuned in because of what they saw. So.
Yeah, and I could see that for sure.
And even judging fairly, like I said, I do think you need a broader audience. I don't think. I mean, if everybody that liked Halo watched it, that'd be enough. But to count on that actually happening every single week is probably a lost cause. So I get that you need a greater audience, but I think there have been countless shows that have proven that you can gain an audience, and people not knowing it. The Walking Dead was a graphic novel that if you ask anybody before it started, there'd be people that know it was a big graphic novel, but the general population would have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
And now look what The Walking Dead is. What is there, fucking 6 shows of it?
Yeah.
You couldn't tell anybody that doesn't know what The Walking Dead is now.
And the graphic novel's so different, too,
yeah.
Which is, like, it proves that you can change a story and still make it, like, good. Like, they could do the same with Halo. They could change things in the show, but, like, still make it feel like Halo.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big problem. Walking Dead, like, you could open the comic, and by, like, chapter 2, there's, like, 20 major differences with that in the show, but it still feels like Walking Dead when you watch it.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. And like at times this show, I'm like, oh, that felt like Halo. But then you get 45 minutes of Quan Ha running around rubble with Soren's wife and child, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's not Halo. That's just
I'm with
a
you.
random. That could be in Star Wars. Like Quan Ha could just be running around in Star Wars.
Oh, jeez, let's not do that now.
We're not going to, but we'll hope Disney might. I don't know. They might. They be like, oh, this Quan Ha character, we gotta make our own version of that.
I know people like Darth Vader, so let's bring him back, and Quan Ha will be under there.
Yeah. Change it up.
Oh, Jesus. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I don't know what to expect this week for episode 4, because I kind of predicted an episode like this. Because they build it all up to like action, and like at first when I started watching, I was like, oh, maybe we're gonna get it, and then it just went away immediately, and I was like, okay, that's where we're at. So an explosion happens at the end of this episode, so I'm assuming if they do this correctly, we should get some action. If not, they're gonna spend like 25 minutes explaining how the explosion happened.
Yeah.
And I'm a little scared about that, and then we'll get like 15 minutes of Quan Ha again. Or we'll get an entire Quan Ha solo episode.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be shocked. I was going to say of anything, I would definitely be shocked to some things that the show did. Like if the next episode was amazing, I'd be shocked, which is sad. But I wouldn't be shocked at any of the negative or mediocre potential outcomes of the next episode. But I said this is one of the first episodes for me. I think there's only been a couple of them, maybe a few, where I think it has potential to not, well, I guess a lot of them have potential, but I think the first one where I felt the potential whether actually will follow through with it. But yeah, I'd also not be shocked if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. There is one guarantee. Master Chief is not near his suit, so if this explosion goes down and there's a fight, we're not getting a suited Chief fighting. We're getting John in his street clothes.
I feel like one of the post shows they showed like coming up on the whole season. I feel like there's a whole action segment where he's in that stupid black suit. So this could be it.
I
forgot about that.
It's my favorite suit.
Yep. Oh, man. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Let us know your Ha ranking
Oh, yeah,
in
definitely.
the comments.
Yep.
Maybe you gave this episode 10 Ha's out of 10 because there was lots of Quan Ha.
Maybe gave it a 1.
Maybe you gave it a 1. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know your Ha comment or your Ha rankings in the comments. Like this video, share it. Let's get the subscriber count up. Like I said, if you do podcast, feel free to leave a review on any of them, or even if you normally do YouTube, go to your favorite podcast service, leave a review there. And anything else?
Nope, that's it.